The sea is a world of immense power and deep mystery, calm and beautiful one moment, deadly the next. In the early 18th century, a new terror haunted these waters, a man named Edward Teach, known to the world as Blackbeard. His black flag, with its horned skeleton and bleeding heart, was a sign of doom for any sailor who glimpsed it on the horizon. Blackbeard was no ordinary pirate. He wielded fear as his greatest weapon. He didn't just steal gold, he stole courage, leaving survivors to spread tales of a demon in human form. In the lawless expanse of the ocean, Blackbeard became a king, ruling not with laws, but with terror. His legend grew with every telling glowing eyes, smoke pouring from his beard, and dark rituals on his ship. He mastered psychological warfare, making enemies surrender before a single shot was fired. The shadow of Blackbeard stretched across the Atlantic, a constant reminder of the darkness lurking just beyond the shore. His reign was brief, but his impact was immense. Blackbeard became the very image of a pirate, the standard by which all others were measured. The stories about him grew more fantastical with each retelling. He was a living myth, a force of nature that haunted the high seas. The ocean has many secrets, but few as dark as the tale of Blackbeard. Blackbeard's legend is filled with chilling tales, even among his own crew. Bored with calm seas, he once marooned a group of his most trusted men on a barren sandbar with no food or water. They watched helplessly as the Queen Anne's Revenge sailed away, leaving them to the scorching sun and endless blue. Days passed in agony, hope turning to despair, then madness. Just as death seemed certain, Blackbeard returned. He'd been watching from just beyond the horizon. This was his twisted test to see who could endure, who was worthy. For Blackbeard, cruelty was a tool, forging his crew into men as ruthless as himself. He trusted no one, ruling through fear and uncertainty. His men followed not out of loyalty but terror, knowing their captain could turn on them at any moment. The story of the marooned crew became a warning whispered from ship to ship. Blackbeard played games with the lives of his own men, cementing his legend as a captain to fear. On his ship, survival meant enduring the unpredictable wrath of the devil himself. Blackbeard understood the power of image better than any pirate. He was tall and imposing, his massive black beard braided with ribbons, transforming him into a nightmare. Before battle, he'd weave slow-burning fuses into his beard and hat, lighting them to shroud his face in smoke. Emerging from the chaos, he looked like the devil himself, wild-eyed, wreathed in acrid fog. This spectacle alone made crews surrender without a fight. He wore a sling of pistols, a cutlass at his side, and dark clothes that made his silhouette monstrous. Blackbeard was a performance artist of terror, every detail calculated to inspire fear. Rumours spread that he'd made a pact with the devil, that he was impossible to kill. Sailors whispered of his supernatural powers, convinced he could command the winds and waves. These stories became as much a part of his legend as his beard and his ship. Blackbeard was no longer just Edward Teach. He was a myth, a living embodiment of every sailor's worst fears. His image haunted the seas, a force of terror and legend. To face Blackbeard was to face the darkness itself. Blackbeard's cruelty blurred the line between man and monster, giving rise to ghostly legends. One tale tells of a night when he sealed his crew in the ship's hold, filling it with choking sulphur fumes. In the suffocating darkness, panic set in. Blackbeard endured the longest, laughing as his men collapsed. He declared, "Let's make a hell of our own to see what it's like." Such acts fueled rumours of his pact with dark forces, but the most infamous legend is his gruesome end. After a desperate battle, Blackbeard was killed and his head severed, hung from Maynard's sloop as a warning. Yet as the ship sailed away, some claimed his headless body swam around the vessel 3 times before sinking. The story spread. Blackbeard's spirit was too evil to die. His headless corpse became the final horrifying chapter in his legend. The image haunted sailors, a reminder that some monsters refuse to rest. Blackbeard's ghost became as feared as the man himself. Blackbeard's infamous ship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, was a vessel with a dark past. Once a French slave ship, it was soaked in suffering before Blackbeard ever set foot aboard. He transformed it into a floating fortress, arming it with 40 cannons, more firepower than many Navy ships. The ship became his symbol of power, a menacing presence that haunted the seas. At his peak, Blackbeard commanded a small fleet, blockading ports and holding cities hostage. The Queen Anne's Revenge was his throne, treasury and stage for terror. In 1718, the ship ran aground and was abandoned, some say deliberately to keep more treasure for himself. Lost for over 2 centuries, its discovery in 1996 revived the legend. The ghost ship returned from the depths, a reminder of Blackbeard's dark reign. Its legacy endures, echoing the terror of its infamous captain. Pirate life wasn't pure chaos. Most ships followed a strict code, the Articles of Agreement. Every crew member signed on, binding themselves to rules about plunder, discipline and democracy. Shares of treasure were clearly defined and even injuries were compensated, a rough form of insurance. Punishments for breaking the code were brutal marooning, flogging, or being cast adrift. On Blackbeard's ship, these punishments were carried out with extra cruelty, reinforcing his absolute authority. The code provided structure, but fear of Blackbeard overshadowed any sense of brotherhood. Pirates were united by danger and hunted by every nation. On the Queen Anne's Revenge, the crew was trapped between the gallows on land and the devil at sea. Their only law was survival, and their greatest fear was their own captain. The pirate code was order in a world ruled by terror. Life on the Queen Anne's Revenge was a harsh mix of boredom and sudden violence. When not chasing prizes, pirates mended sails, scrubbed decks and survived on meagre rations. Rum was their escape, fueling wild nights of singing, gambling and brawling. Superstition ruled the ship. Whistling was bad luck, and omens were everywhere. Crossing the equator meant brutal hazing rituals, blending fear and theatre. The greatest threat was the sea itself, storms, disease, and the ever-present danger of the Royal Navy. A strange sail could mean fortune or doom. For Blackbeard's crew, the supernatural seemed real, amplified by their captain's demonic persona. Every day was a gamble, with death always close at hand. On these lawless waters, survival was never guaranteed. By autumn 1718, Blackbeard's reign had become intolerable. Virginia's governor, Alexander Spotswood, secretly dispatched Lieutenant Robert Maynard to hunt him down. Maynard's sloops found Blackbeard at Ocracoke Inlet, catching the pirates off guard. The battle began with a brutal exchange of cannon fire. Blackbeard's broadside was devastating. Maynard, outgunned, used cunning. He hid most of his men below deck, feigning heavy losses. Blackbeard boarded, expecting victory, but Maynard's men swarmed up for a desperate fight. In the chaos, Blackbeard and Maynard clashed in a fierce duel. Blackbeard fought like a demon, wounded but relentless. Surrounded, he was finally brought down, shot 5 times, cut 20 times. The invincible pirate was dead. His head was severed and displayed as a warning to all. The reign of terror was over, and the legend was born. The seas would never forget Blackbeard. Blackbeard's death marked the end of an era, but his legend only grew. His ghost is said to haunt the coast of North Carolina, searching for his severed head. Locals speak of strange lights, Teach's light moving across the water and his voice roaring in the storm. Blackbeard became the archetype of the pirate wild beard, tricorn hat and fearsome presence. His story lives on in books, movies and folklore, sometimes as a tragic anti-hero, but the real man was a monster. The shadow of Blackbeard lingers in shipwrecks, in chilling tales, and in our imagination. He is a symbol of lawless freedom and the darkness of the high seas. The ocean keeps many secrets, but Blackbeard's legend refuses to die. His ghost sails on, a reminder that monsters once ruled the waves. The tale of Blackbeard endures, a ghost ship on the horizon of history.